Is peaceful divorce possible? Was the question I desperately wanted to know the answer to. And truthfully, I didn't have any idea whether it was or not. This is a very hard video for me to make, but I also think it's a very important video to make because I know there are so many folks out there that were in a similar situation to me, or as me, excuse me, that feel stuck, they feel trapped, they're terrified to make a decision, and there are significant costs to whatever decision is made. And so I prayed to God that I would be able to find the answer, and I exhausted almost every possible solution I could seek out to understand. I did that in my journey. And so I did speak to many shark-like attorneys that all presented their side of the solution, which always sounded to me like nuclear war and terrified me. It made me feel a certain kind of way, which I did not want for myself or my wife or my family or my children or our future. It kept me stuck for a very long time. And every toxic feeling that one could feel, I definitively felt to a degree of magnitude or an order of magnitude that I had no way of knowing up until I found the solution. So please understand that there is a happy ending to this, but it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of self-discovery. And it also takes a willing participant that is able to do some of that introspection too. So, it takes two people to agree to be married. It also takes two people to agree to divorcing peacefully. So with that in mind, the last year of being separated has been hell. I'm typically the last one to know that I'm feeling depressed. I'm typically the last one to know much about my emotional state. And that is somewhat embarrassing to disclose, but it's the truth. I am hardwired a certain type of way, and I want to fix the problem, find a solution, and move on quickly in every other area of my life. This happened to be the one area of my life where every natural instinct or every possible thing that has served me well in other settings does not work here. So being a great salesman might be good in other situations, but it did not serve me well at all in terms of getting what I wanted optimally, period. And I realized at some point that I was the obstacle to me getting what I want in terms of a peaceful divorce. So it's been a long journey, but what I can say is that when we got married, or when I got married, I had no idea what I was actually saying yes to, other than the idea of what I thought marriage was. And shame on me for not knowing any better, but I don't suspect I'm alone in this decision or in this opting into being married. It is a contract, and I never looked at it that way. So when everything is sunshine and unicorns or rainbows, all I had was the fantasy of what I thought marriage was and the love that I felt in that moment. And make no mistake, when we decided to get married, we were definitely in love, definitely aligned, definitely thought we were going to be the exception to the rule, because I think everybody knows that most marriages end in divorce. What I didn't fully understand is that all marriages end one of two ways: death or divorce. And I have to give credit where credit is due. So much of what I learned And a lot of what reframed my thought process on many things as it relates to how to find a peaceful divorce came from a divorce attorney himself. And I would encourage you, if this is something that is relevant to you, to please check out James Sexton. Find his book on Amazon, which is called How to Stay in Love. I think it's one of the best relationship books that has ever been written. But I got tremendous value from his message and messaging. And it really flipped the script on me internally and how I was looking to proceed. But all a long way of getting to, I didn't realize how stuck I was because there was no closure. And yes, we have been separated for a long time. And yes, in many ways, we both have moved on. But I hadn't really moved on. I've just been stuck essentially in my own prison, not allowing myself to live or feel anything other than shame, guilt, depression, basically just torturing myself emotionally. And there was no resolution to it because both of us, I think, were afraid to take the next step because we didn't really know what the next step was. Because the only method that we knew to end our marriage was through a contested divorce. Now, it is, I think, obvious that a contested divorce, but I don't presume to know anything. So I didn't know that there are other methods to divorcing. Of course, I knew there was mediation, which would be court ordered, but I've also got experience and know lots of people who have gotten a divorce. And none of them has what I want. None of them ended their marriage and then became co-parents in a way that I wanted anything to do with, frankly. It always seemed like that the participants in the divorce ended up in some form of constant war, constant resentment, constant anger. They're always fighting about something. They're always going back to court. They're always torturing each other in some form or fashion. And that terrified the ever-living shit out of me. I wanted nothing to do with that. And everybody's circumstance is going to be different. So I can't pretend that what worked for me is going to work for you or anybody else. But with our decision to end our marriage, it was actually the most loving decision that we could have made for each other and our family. It was the best gift that we could give to each other, given that we had discovered that we don't love each other the way married people are supposed to. And we tried everything. So I know that I can and will at some point be able to look my kids in the eyes when they tell me or when they ask me, why did we get divorced? Why didn't we try harder? Why didn't we do X, Y, or Z, or whatever the thing is they think we should have done? I know we exhausted every single one of those possibilities. So I know that I can look my kids in the eyes and look myself in the eyes in the mirror and know that I speak from a place of integrity when I say we did everything that we possibly could to fix our marriage. And none of it worked because the underlying truth was we don't love each other the way married people are supposed to. And I couldn't even begin to tell you how many people I speak to on a regular basis that feel similarly to how I felt, that also feel trapped and stuck in a suboptimal marriage that will never be corrected because they all have the same thing in common, which is that they've changed. And yes, at one point they did love each other. And yes, at one point they did want to be married. And yes, at one point they wanted whatever they wanted, but it's no longer true. So I don't believe I'm alone when I say that we loved each other, but we don't love each other the way married people are supposed to. I don't think I'm unique. And so with that in mind, I got to a place finally, which I take no credit for. I just don't. Because I knew, although I didn't know I was depressed and I didn't know how much weight the depression was negatively impacting me, I didn't understand that. I did understand that I was angry and resentful. I did understand anger. I do understand anger and resentment. And I also knew that coming from a place of anger or resentment is not a place to be able to operate from in order to get what I want. So I tried everything that I could do, that I could think to do to remove the anger or resentment or end resentment, right? I tried to exercise it away. I tried to lift it away. I tried to run it away or bike it away or drive it away or pray it away or journal it away or meditate it away or any other thing you can think of. I did. And none of it worked because I wasn't ready to let it go. I didn't know how to let it go, but I remained consistent in my efforts to attempt to let it go. It just was something I was unable to do on my own. Which takes me to, I went on a trip. I went out to West Yellowstone with some of my friends. We went hiking. We got into nature. We experienced a mega dose of natural beauty. I experienced a psychedelic experience without even knowing it. Obviously not through taking drugs because I don't do that. But something within me changed, and I wasn't even aware of it when it happened. It only became clear to me when I flew home and landed that I wasn't carrying around this weight anymore. It took me a couple more days to realize that I had let go of the anger and resentment that I had been holding on to. And I actually take zero credit for that because I don't think I did it. I think God removed those defects of character. I think God took away all of it miraculously. And from there, it was much easier for me to communicate and provide information, which I realized in the past, anytime, because we've had this conversation many times, I realized I was the reason that none of those efforts had actually led to an outcome that I wanted. It just created a bigger barrier of fear, which neither one of us was prepared to jump over because I don't know why. I don't know why. But neither of us wanted to harm each other. And I know lots of folks who get divorced are furious and resentful and angry. And maybe one of them cheated, or maybe one of them did drugs, or is a drug addict, or is an alcoholic, or is abusive, or is whatever they are. Fill in the blank with whatever you want. None of that really applied to our particular situation, period. And if it did, well, then maybe it would have been a different outcome, but that wasn't what was our situation. We both really love our family. We both really presumably love the status quo, but that wasn't true either. Neither one of us loved the status quo. We just wanted to peacefully divorce. And so from there, through a lot of soul searching, a lot of due diligence, speaking with almost every attorney I could think to consult with, I realized that although I know that an attorney-led mediation is part of the process, based on me reading and my experience, my suspicion was that an attorney-led mediation, even though they may be quote unquote family mediators, I also know they've got a financial incentive to not mediate and go nuclear and go the contested route, which is not what I wanted. So what I sought to get was a peaceful divorce led by the two participants, right? I didn't want an attorney to be the one, or attorneys to be the one who decide how our marriage is ended. I didn't want the state to decide how our marriage is ended or our assets and liabilities distributed. I didn't want any part of anybody besides us making those decisions. And that's possible. That is 100% possible if you agree and the other party agrees to doing it peacefully. There are plenty of services that specialize in exactly that. And so I'm not going to endorse any one particular service that does that. There happened to be one locally which we used. And if that's something that you want more information about, I'd be happy to share it with you. But God works in mysterious ways, and I am happy to announce, although it isn't official yet, so I don't want to jinx myself, but we did peacefully mediate and come to terms that both of us agree to, which I don't look at as a win, because although the terms are as favorable as they could be to both of us, it's never what I wanted. I never wanted to get divorced. I never would have thought this is where we would end up when we got married. But so therefore, I don't look at any of this as a win. I look at everything as a loss, because it is. But it did provide the closure that I needed to feel the relief that I never expected. So for me, the miracle here is that we've got a measure of closure, and at some point in the near future, our divorce will be finalized by the court, by a judge, and then it's over. But the gift we gave each other allowed us to land in a spot where we are both committed to being the best co-parents the world has ever seen. And I know that I would not have been capable of that, or at least I don't believe I would have. Who knows what would have happened over time. But the anger and the resentment and the fear that I would have likely projected as a less optimal version of myself, a lesser version of myself, I just don't think I had the DNA inherently within me to be able to navigate that, period. I don't think that would have been in the best interest of our family. And I'm only speaking for myself here. I think it would have been like a nuclear disaster. Nobody wins, nobody recovers, everybody dies. And I don't mean that literally, obviously. I mean it figuratively. But there is hope. And as I was saying before, God works in mysterious ways. Over the last week, I've had 3 different people reach out to me through I guess the Grapevine network, but it's not exactly a secret amongst my inner circle that these are the things that are happening. I got the opportunity to speak to 3 different individuals who seem to be suffering through and experiencing almost the exact same thing that I did. And so I took tremendous, what's the right word? I took tremendous, I want to say joy, although it's probably not the right way to look at it, to be able to give back and share my experience, strength, and hope with these folks who were suffering through something like what I did, gave me enormous contentment and satisfaction and joy. I was thrilled to be able to help them with new information that they probably did not know existed. And each of them was extremely grateful, and I'm not sharing this to brag or break my arm or try to break my arm to pat myself on the back. I would do it for anybody, but it occurred to me that this is something that I like to do. It's something that I think is of enormous value, and so if this is something you would like to talk to me about, I will figure out a way to do that. And I would be honored to listen to and provide whatever non-expert advice I can give on this matter. Just let me know in the comments if it's something that you think you would want, because I don't know, right? So this is my little test to see if there is anybody out there who thinks they might benefit from it, and I would be honored to do so. So that's it. Keep hope alive. You're going to be okay. You are going to be a better version of yourself at the opposite side of this horrific journey. But when you jump over the fear, you will, if you're anything like me, you will likely land in a spot of tremendous reconciliation with yourself, forgiveness for yourself, and almost unlimited joy, happiness, satisfaction, and courage, because you will have proven that you are who you think you are, and you will have done what is in the best interest of you and your family so that everybody can benefit moving forward, and everyone can land in a place where they are optimal and most likely to be the best version of themselves. And so that's my hope, prayer, and want for everybody who watches this. Thank you for watching. And again, let me know down in the comments below if you think it's something that you might benefit from, and I'll figure out a way to reach out and connect to you. That's it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, share, and I look forward to, you're watching Chris Uncensored, and I look forward to seeing you on my next video.